Welcome to Connect and Collaborate. I am Alex Hopkins, your on-air producer, and having technical difficulties as usual. So I'm excited for this episode of Connect and Collaborate because we are talking about some upcoming events that Colorado Business Roundtable is having. We've got a full roster, September, October, November. We're punching right on through. But we are focusing right now on our next one that is tomorrow afternoon, 4 o'clock to 3:30 to 6, and that is climate change with Manufacturer's Edge. We will have a featured speaker that is Congresswoman Diana DeGette. So that is Wednesday tomorrow that we are having that event. So Jeff, welcome, and Ali Risick from Manufacturer's Edge. How are you guys doing?
So great. Thanks. So glad to be here. Thank you so much, Alex and Jeff.
Yeah, it's wonderful. And we're so honored to be partnering again with our great friends at Manufacturer's Edge on this great event with Congresswoman DeGette. There's no doubt that there's certainly been changes in our world as it relates to climate, whether you're dealing with ice caps and seawaters and temperature changes, droughts, wildfires, flooding, go on and on. You know, our idea around this particular event Wednesday with climate is really not to debate the merits of whether it's global warming, climate shift, climate change, and, you know, compare degrees and data and all the research that's gone on around that.
We haven't invited any scientists to
Thank
speak.
goodness, yes, because that's not the goal. Our goal is to really sit and talk about how business is being impacted, what business needs to know. When you look at everything that goes on in Colorado and the types of industries that we have here, whether it's the outdoor rec and tourism and the ski industries, and how important this topic is to them. Certainly when you start looking at businesses that depend on water and how important that is, and the drought conditions that we're dealing with, and certainly commodities and the ag community and folks in that particular industry that rely upon this. This matters to them. Coffee growers and wheat growers and soybean. You go down in the line of everybody that relies upon that. We just finished Pedal the Plains, and we know how important this particular topic is to so many of the folks in the Farm Bureau and the Eastern Plains that we rely upon each and every day to kind of put that food on the table, and what they're dealing with and how they're dealing with that. So it's a great opportunity to bring together. And you know, Ali, I'll just kind of throw a question over to you. I'll take Alex's role here. You know, this is not typical Manufacturer's Edge type of programming, we'll say. So what was the interest of getting together and having a discussion around climate and business?
Well, manufacturing covers so many areas. All four of our guests ended up being manufacturers who will be talking with Diana DeGette. We have Ted Onion with Meyer Skis. He's the co-founder of Meyer Skis. And I guess he's kind of capitalized on climate change in that he uses beetle kill wood from Colorado to build his skis. They're all beautifully, you know, the graphics are beautiful and they're gorgeous skis. And so it's pretty cool.
Will it help me ski better or stand up on my skis if I use his as opposed to others? Does the beetle kill help?
I'm sure he can build some for you that will help.
Real wide, real safe.
As well as a snowboard if you want that. Maybe even skateboards. I don't know.
Wow.
But we also
love
have
that.
Two amazing, you know, kind of different but amazing other award-winning certified B Corporation companies that will be joining us. We have Kyle Garner, the CEO of Organic India USA.
Talk about that company and what they do.
Well, wow. First of all, let me just tell you what a B Corporation is. Certified B Corporations are a new kind of business that balances purpose and profit. They are legally required to consider the impact of their decisions on their workers, customers, suppliers, community, and the environment. This is a community of leaders driving a global movement of people using business as a force for good. Okay. So Kyle with Organic India USA provides organic Tulsi infusions and herbal supplements for healthy, conscious living.
Interesting.
So all of his farmers, he's had almost 20 years relationship with in India. And when you look at their videos on YouTube, it's just flat out amazing.
Oh, wow.
They're supporting communities across India. So that's one company, and the other one is Katie Wallace, the director.
I know. I think everybody in Colorado is going to love this one. We were working with Andres,
Director of Social and Environmental Responsibilities. She's been with New Belgium Brewery for 14 years.
Oh, okay.
Well, that came through Andres with the Colorado Beer Association and working and referred, because we wanted them to be involved and understand, again, that impact when you start dealing with hops and growing and water.
You're talking
it's beer.
about climate.
Let's remind us, it is beer.
And think about all the things they're doing. They're also certified B Corporation, and they were one of the leaders across the world for brewing beer and then reusing all of the grain, reusing the water that comes out of the brewing process, promoting good health of their workers. So, New Belgium is a world leader in brewing sustainably.
Incredible opportunity to have Katie there as the new director of social and environmental responsibility and what she brings to the table. And again, their understanding and perspective of this topic and the impact and what it means to them and what they're doing as a company to really address those challenges and be great stewards, not only for their employees and consumers, but certainly for the environment in the state of Colorado and their role they can play. So we're excited. But then you also have your boss.
I do.
Tom Bugness joining the panel.
Nicest guy in the world. Next to you, Jeff.
And Tom has been with us several times on the show, so our audience is pretty familiar with Tom Bugness.
Yeah.
Great guy.
We are
around.
so fortunate to have him as our CEO. His background is so huge in manufacturing as well as running companies, and he is one of the most thoughtful people that I know. In so many ways, whether it's through taking care of people or being sustainable with our earth. He's very well connected with all of our federal delegates and just very well liked. So can't wait to have his take on all of this as well.
Such a great thought leader and just a true rock star for not only the manufacturing community, but I think the business community writ large, and we're honored to have him. So we're getting together with the Congresswoman Wednesday. We'll be at Geotech on 40th Ave. For those of you interested in coming to the event, registration will begin at 3:30. There's certainly an Eventbrite link. You can sign up at www.cobrt.com/events and register there. If you're just hearing this and just want to come by, you're more than willing
oh my
to
gosh,
stop
we're
in.
going to have amazing food with Sava Catering.
Ooh,
and
nice.
some lovely beverages.
Yes, that we're going to be bringing a few, and New Belgium's coming.
This, but it's free.
It's free.
It's free.
Good.
And it'll be at Geotech, which is another great company that's involved with taking care of the earth. They actually make instruments that measure water and the condition of the water.
Interesting. That's fun.
And
it's a great host for that to be able to talk about
so they'll
that.
be giving tours if anyone wants to take a walk around.
Oh, cool.
And one more plug. I gotta plug Aaron Mansica of, I think it's Mansica, the executive director of Naturally Boulder. He was the one who was kind enough to hook me up with one of his board members, who happens to be Kyle Garner.
Oh,
great.
Cool.
So
Very
thanks,
nice.
Naturally Boulder and Aaron.
So registration 3:30. The event will start around 4 o'clock. We'll let Geotech do a quick welcome, and we're going to jump right in. Really, this is in the role of the Colorado Business Roundtable and working on these more larger global issues in our congressional delegation. Our partnership with all of our delegation, including Congresswoman DeGette, is so important to us, and continuing to drive that national narrative and our lane here at Coburt. So the Congresswoman will be kind of really kicking off that event, and then we'll move right into the panel discussion around 4:10, 4:15. Kind of bringing everything to a head around 5 o'clock. And getting right into a reception.
Yeah, and it's my understanding she's going to stick around and have a conversation with anybody who would like to talk with her.
That's awesome.
All you millennials out there, this completely affects you. So please come. If you're listening, please come.
Yes.
Don't just come.
Which is great that she's taking the time. She understands why this matters. She understands the importance of this conversation. She also knows where she are in the committees that she was appointed to on behalf of the minority leadership there in the House.
And she's our most senior.
She is our senior member of our Colorado delegation by far. Right? She has been there heading into her 11th term if elected.
Wow.
She's certainly spent her years in understanding these particular issues and the impact to Colorado, and has seen the changes here in Colorado and why this topic is so not only relevant and timely, but just an important conversation to business, again, to not debate the issue, but really talk about the impacts and what we need to know moving forward,
and we have experts.
How it's going to truly impact you
in the business community. And I want to give can we give a shout out to her staff?
Of course.
Really, they are just so fun to work with. And Tom Kelly, what an interesting guy! If you get a chance to meet with him, holy cow!
Do you want to call? Is interesting a good way? Interesting. Such an interesting guy. There we go. That's probably a better
Great
way.
word. Yeah. Great word.
Yeah, their team has been fantastic and so responsive. And again, just that the Congresswoman will be there and not doing her thing and making her remarks and being ushered out by staff onto the next event.
She's part of the conversation.
She's put the time. And so if you want to have a chance to talk with her about this particular issue, to come to hear from these experts, I'm so interested to hear from Ted, about this idea and the concept of what's happened with beetle kill and how you can take something that's truly been an impact and turn it into something that's so indicative of the Colorado industry and, what we are known for, over our mountains and ski industry and utilizing and the pairing of those two particular industries to kind of create his own lane and what that looks like. But again, whether you're Vail Resorts or anybody up there in the hospitality industry, this matters to them, and the amount of snowfall matters to them, just like it does those on the Eastern Plains dealing with this. I actually got into a big tractor this weekend as part of Pedal the Plains with the Farm Bureau and folks. And
Caterpillar or John Deere?
Bigger. Neither of those two. Massive. I got $300,000 piece of equipment that's got over a $12,000 GPS unit that dials into water and the types of complete nuanced scientific data about soil and where you need to water and the lanes that they're doing and dry farming, and you start realizing what that means.
There's a whole other Colorado company that we can plug for that one.
Oh my goodness, it's so informative about how they're dealing with dry water farming. I never thought there was such a thing. Your mindset around that we just dump water in there and that's how you have to grow things, and how they're adapting to the times and being out on the plains where water is not plentiful, and they all kind of point the finger at the growth in Metro Denver is sucking up all the water. And
oh dear.
It may matter. So we look forward to seeing you all tomorrow.
Yes, we will see you tomorrow. Again, register at cobrt.com/events. You'll find the registration link for tomorrow. 3:30 is when registration opens at Geotech with Manufacturer's Edge. Thank you so much, Allie, for joining us.
See you all there.
Yeah.
We're excited, Allie. Thanks again.
Thanks so much.
Once again, Jeff Wasden, I am so excited to talk about what Colorado Business Roundtable is doing the next couple of months. I know we have a ton of events that are coming up, and we got a lot of partners that we got to shine a great light on. And so I'm going to let you jump in with this next guest in our next event that we're pushing out
here.
Oh,
my goodness. It's so excited to have Sean Martini from the Colorado Farm Bureau on the phone. And we have got an incredible event coming up. But it's really an event highlighting a lot of our partnership and a lot of the great work that we've been working on around trade and the importance of trade, and as it relates to the farms and companies, ranchers of the Farm Bureau, and why that matters to Colorado and the ag industry, and NAFTA primarily being front and center of that policy, and the more immediate need as we've been working through the NAFTA negotiations for quite some time. And so really we've decided to sit together, and Sean and I kind of sat down and really said, let's just put the marker down, pick a date, and do this, because if we don't do it, it's not going to happen, and time will get away from us. And so Friday at the state capitol on the East Lawn, we're going to do a NAFTA Burger Barbecue to really highlight the importance of such a simple thing about your food and where it comes from, and why these integrated supply chains are so important, and how you actually look from the buns to the produce to the meat about their production line and cycle. And there's no better partner on so many issues that we've worked on: immigration, country of origin labeling, the cool process, and now really on trade and NAFTA issues in the Farm Bureau. So it's so great to have Sean with the Farm Bureau on the phone. But Sean, before we get that, how in the heck did you and the SAG team of Team Farm Power survive these last 3 days at Pedal the Plains?
It was easy for the SAG team. We get lots of windshield time. It's a ton of fun supporting you all as the riders, making your way across 200 plus miles of roadway in eastern Colorado with a 15-mile-an-hour headwind. So you guys did a fantastic job. It was a lot of fun.
That whole tour and the ability to get folks out away from Metro Denver and out to the plains really highlights a little bit about what we're doing, right, to explore that, why that particular part of the state is so important, not only to the GDP of Colorado and the economic rationale and what that means, but to your organization. It's very important for you guys to understand how you guys support your membership and why commodity pricing and trade partners and the opportunity to move goods and services beyond Colorado's borders is so important.
It is. There is, while there may not be as many folks in eastern and far western Colorado as there are along the Front Range, that doesn't mean there's not a whole lot going on out there. And that's the whole idea of Pedal the Plains, is to get people out away from the Front Range, see some of the scenic vistas and the highways and byways of eastern Colorado, but also to just understand what it looks like to look at the very starting point of what is a $41 billion economic engine here in Colorado, and that's agriculture and food. And it's a great way to do that in Pedal the Plains. And it's also important to the rest of the state, and to the extent that we have the ability to tap foreign markets at free and fair rates, and be able to engage in that cross-border, cross-country exchange for goods that we have and they need, and for goods that they have and we need. It's very important in those that integrated nature of not only a lot of the industries that we see in town along the Front Range, but also the integrated nature and integrated supply chains as they pertain to agriculture and food production is something that's very important to us and to our members as we continue to grow agriculture, modernize, add technology, and improve our productive capacity.
Well, and you guys do such an incredible job in advocating on behalf of your membership, and I think you guys are really shining examples of why these trade associations and membership groups matter, because you provide that voice and that lens and that framework. You want your members to be focusing on getting their production done and being out in the field and creating that food source, not only for us here in Colorado, but for, again, the rest of the world, is this global expansion, being able to do that. You threw out a number that I want to put in context, $41 billion industry. And I know people think about oil, gas, and how big that is to Colorado. That's a $31 billion industry. So just to put that in a little bit of context, that you're a $10 billion industry above oil and gas, and how significant that is to folks on the Eastern Plains. When you look at our trading partners and our neighbors in Canada and Mexico, the whole idea around NAFTA, the North American Free Trade Agreement, why that matters, our closest allies, our largest trading partners, that's certainly been under attack. NAFTA has been labeled the absolute worst trade agreement in the history of trade agreements. Your membership base, by and large, has been very happy to have these types of trade agreements in place. Our organization at the Business Roundtable firmly believes that we need strong trade agreements, that our ability to be global in nature, to competitive, to expand, to put more American workers, and certainly here in Colorado, more Coloradans back to work, is driven by and large by the opportunity to expand these global markets. And so we're firmly planted in that seed that we need to continue to expand and look for more opportunities to allow Colorado business owners the opportunity to move into that global space and continue to push products. So the idea of the NAFTA Burger kind of was born from the Coloradans for NAFTA reform and our coalition that we do with World Trade and with the Farm Bureau and the Business Roundtable, and trying to really highlight the importance of NAFTA and our agreements. And so this is kind of one of the first offshoots of that. We're working on an event with the Denver Business Journal, with the Consulate General's offices. It'll happen later in this year. That'll get more nuanced in the policy. This is really just a fun idea, a fun program. There's no cost. Come out to the Capitol on Friday. Sean, I'll let you kind of jump into what you guys are bringing out there. They actually cook these burgers up and all that fun part, but this is not a program. You're not going to come sit here and be bored by listening to what the tantalizing taste of a free burger. This is a chance just to come to network, to learn a little bit more, to see some things in action, to meet some of the partners that are there advocating on behalf of the free trade agreement. And again, what your guys' role and what your work is. So Friday rolls along. What in the heck is the Farm Bureau bringing, and how are we going to feed these people?
we're bringing the beef, we're bringing condiments, lettuce, tomatoes, all that important kind of stuff that goes into making a burger. And again, as you said, Jeff, just to highlight the importance of this agreement to Colorado and United States agriculture across the country. We would not have a $41 billion contribution to Colorado's economy if we didn't have NAFTA in place for the last 25 years. It's critically important as agriculture becomes more and more productive that we're able to access foreign markets as a place to sell all the food that we grow here. We grow far much more food in the United States than we could ever possibly use. And so access to foreign markets for our farmers and ranchers is absolutely critical to the success, the current success and future success of American agriculture and American farmers and ranchers. So excited to have this event coming up here on Friday. It's going to be a lot of fun. Like you said, no strings attached. Just come and have a burger, come and talk with folks who are directly involved in the agriculture industry, have an interest in free and fair trade through NAFTA and other trade agreements, and really kind of get an idea and a baseline picture of just what this agreement means to the second largest industry in the state, and kind of the complexities and the overall integrations of what would seem to be a fairly simple proposal, which is slap a burger on the grill, put it on a bun with some condiments, and chat down here at the end of the summer before it starts to get any colder.
And I think this whole idea, the concept, really is just intended for that exact reason, to highlight that, right? Because you start thinking about all that goes into making just the bun, and where it's grown, where it's processed, how that is produced. You get into the beef, about, again, start talking about the processing of that, to turn it into a burger, and how that's grown and where it's fed. Feeding and growing cattle is its own particular industry, and I know around the FFA and being out on the farms and the plains, and certainly through Battle of the Plains this year, in previous years, you start to see how big and how diverse and how, it's not so simple of just being in your own backyard and doing something, that these things are shipped across borders. They're processed in very different areas of our North America alliance between Canada and Mexico. You certainly get into all the condiments, and you're talking about lettuce and tomatoes and things like that. Again, this stuff matters to not only Coloradans, but certainly to the consumers, and what it means to families to put reliable, safe food on their table that is protected, that is healthy, that's grown here, and at a price that you can afford, right? And that's why these trade deals matter. Sean, I want to kind of segue a little bit, but I'm going to ask one question. Are you and I on the grill Friday, or do people need to be worried about who's cooking?
It's going to be you and me and probably one or two more guys here from Farm Bureau staff. Richard, who's on our staff, who is in charge of dragging the grill trailer all around the state to meetings and Farm Bureau functions, gets a little protected, but we'll make sure he lets us jump in and run this for a little while.
That's good. If nothing else, in me and my world, at least I get the photo op with the spatula in hand, take the picture.
That's the important part.
I'll probably run after that, but looking forward to seeing everybody Friday at the Capitol, 11:30 to 1 on the East Lawn. Come in, enjoy a great burger.
Yes, and Sean, we have about 30 seconds here left. I want to make sure we ask you what you've got going on. Anything at Colorado Farm Bureau we should look out for you?
It's always busy. It's certainly busier this year throughout the summer and into the fall. We are campaigning with a lead organization bringing Amendment 74 to the voters of Colorado, which strengthens private property rights and ensures that everybody has a fair shot at compensation when their property is condemned or devalued by government action. So it's something that our members have been focused on for a long time, and we're excited about being able to bring to the voters here in November.
Sean, how do people learn more about 74?
They can come to our website, coloradofarmbureau.com, or coloradosharedheritage.org. It's a committee for Colorado's Shared Heritage, is the issue committee that we're using to bring this forward throughout the campaign to the voters in November.
Wonderful. Thank you both so much. It's been a pleasure. Stay with us through this break. Be sure to like and subscribe our YouTube page while you're here. And go ahead and sign up for our events. On our events page, you'll find this. You'll find the other several
climate event, cyber event, award stuff. A lot going on.
We'll be right back. Welcome back to Connect and Collaborate. Once again, I'm Alex Hopkins, your on-air producer, and I'm so excited for today's episode because we were talking about everything that the Colorado Business Roundtable has going on. In the last segment, we talked to Ali Rusick and Sean Martini, and those are events that are going on this week, actually, that are happening. But
Our
now,
Climate and NAFTA Burger
Climate
event.
and NAFTA Burger. Again, sign up at cobrt.com/events. But this event that we're talking about now is a little bit further out, but you should be prepared and getting your tickets now. So,
this is an incredible event and a great opportunity to get together with one of our key partners and one of our Colorado Business Roundtable board members, Dr. Becky Tinker, and what's going on at Colorado State University Global Campus. Becky's been such an incredible partner and friend along with Global to everything that we've done here from day one, really, of the Business Roundtable, who saw, I think, really the value, the potential of what COBRT can bring. And Becky was really one of those early adopters, and so had such an incredible partnership with you all in a couple different events, including an earlier cyber event that we just decided to blow up and make it even bigger and better this year.
We did. We had a really good turnout last time. Lots of different perspectives from education to practitioners to local businesses. And I think the big thing that we heard that time was that we need to do it again, and we need to dive deeper into what we can do to help solve not just the issue from an educational standpoint, but also the employer needs and the employee needs and even individual users.
Let's talk a little bit, but I will say that not being an event planner, I think when people ask for you to do it again, that's generally a good sign, right?
I think
that's okay. I think that's good. I think that's probably really telling and revealing that they wanted more, and we're left so impressed with the quality of panelists and the programming and the content that there was that thirst for more knowledge and information. And we'll kind of get into this year's, but let's take a step back really with Karen to give you kind of a chance to talk about why this particular topic matters and what you guys are doing at CSU Global Campus around cyber and technology.
Absolutely. Cybersecurity is one of our most important programs that we have at CSU Global. And as an institution, we're always looking for ways to ensure that we're supporting not only the economy, but student success. And cybersecurity is a very big topic, not just from a philosophical and a theoretical standpoint, but very much in our economy. I think last I saw there was nearly 9,000 open positions in Colorado in cybersecurity.
Amazing.
And they were projecting,
and
they're projecting I think 1.2 million positions nationally over the next couple of years to open up in that area. So it just goes to show how important the topic is. And, you see conversations all the time about privacy and balancing that need for privacy with the quality of life that people enjoy with AI and different things that make things easier. So the conversation will be ongoing. And I think it's something that, as an institution, we take very seriously because we have a role to play in making sure that there are prepared employees and that we're supporting the workforce in that area.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because that's really the question that I have. When you start looking at cyber threats and the evolution of cyber, and they're coming at you from so many different directions, how do you, as a leading educational institution here in the state of Colorado, really try and prepare students for something that's changing, that's such a fast-moving target? How do you work with industry, and why does an event like this matter to your overall strategy of ensuring those students are successful and prepared and ready to enter the workforce?
Right. I think events like this help us, hear directly from employers. And we do that in other ways as well. We have program advisory boards. We connect with other partners. Locally, we have a relationship with Leader Quest. And we try very hard to work with these partnerships so that we can help students see the progression from job-ready skills to then perhaps a certification and on to a degree program. And then having these events just gives us information that we can bring back and integrate directly into our programs. We're very strategic in the way that we look at our programs and constantly evaluate them and bring information in, and we're very agile. So we can bring that industry knowledge straight from these types of events into our programs and share it with our students directly. And one of the other big trends that you see in cybersecurity is the type of students that employers are looking for. I think it used to be thought of as an extension of computer science or something that only computer science students could do. But what we see is a trend for interest in students that have a different background, that maybe understand sociology, understand different cultures, so that there can be a different perspective brought into this industry, because it is so much more than coding. It is understanding people, it's understanding behavior, and then how to get ahead of what that next threat might be. So people coming into the field, I think, represent a much broader array of potential employee than maybe what some people realize when you just think about what we see on TV with people sitting behind computers and coding. It's much more than that, because it really is a study of human behavior as well.
You mentioned something, and I want to give CSU Global really a plug in this area. When you start talking about the accreditation process and curriculum design and then evaluation, which people forget about how important, that is not an easy process. And people wonder why, education can't be more agile and nimble. But I think that's just something that you referenced that we look at from our standpoint in our work with academia and our partners in higher ed, that I think is really a great example of what CSU Global can do and how quick you guys can adapt to these current trends and stay topical and relevant, because this is so, as I mentioned earlier, such a fast-moving target that your ability to continue to evolve the curriculum and how you're preparing students matters. You don't want to send somebody out that just learned to do DOS or work on a typewriter in today's world. They're going to be a little behind, I think.
Right.
I think that's, as we start to get kind of transitioning into this big event, let's kind of put some framework around where we're heading, what we're doing. So Tuesday, October 30th, we're going to go to History, Colorado.
We are.
Downtown, a little breakfast event this time. And so we're looking forward to that venue. It'll be very accessible in downtown. There's some great parking on the street there. They put on a good breakfast. The room set up very well, and I think it'll lend very well to this type of event that we're doing. CSU Global is going to do an opportunity to do a great plug there, or to moderate the panel, and we want you guys as our key partner in here to have that opportunity to help guide that conversation. We've been honored from the Roundtable side to be able to bring really in the panelists and the keynote speaker from our network of companies. So Franny, the new CTA president,
That's
there,
Franny Matthews.
from former IBM exec, will kind of do an intro and a welcome and introduce our keynote speaker, Chris Bradbury, who is the Senior Manager in Cyber Risk Services at Deloitte. That'll kind of do a keynote and really talk about that risk management and discussion around there. So excited to hear him, right? I think it's very different lens that he'll bring from our panelists, right, which are really talking more about what IBM, what AT&T, what Microsoft are doing. For him to talk to the business community writ large about why this matters, whether you're a manufacturer, whether you're an energy company, whether you're involved in hospitality, construction services that are using this lovely tool called technology to drive you forward, and what that matters and how it can impact you and your business and your companies and your employees. We're excited about that, and I think it'll be wonderful. Who's doing the moderation moderating that panel this year from CSU Global?
Oh, moderating, we're going to have, I believe, Andy Dixon from our marketing department will kick everything off. We will also have Dr. Charles Lively, our computer science program chair and lead professor in that area as well. So we're looking forward to the same thing. I mean, great input from employers, important to see what businesses are doing, how they're working together to solve a lot of these problems, and then how we can all engage in, partnering to create a solution.
Normally, I love that moderator role because it's the easy part of being involved in a program.
Keep everything going.
This time, I don't know. There's so much to cover and so many incredible panelists and the work that's being done in this particular field with the companies that we're bringing together that I think that moderator is going to have their hands full. There's so much to cover.
Yes, because we have panelists from Microsoft, IBM, and AT&T all in their cyber forensics and cybersecurity area. So lots of knowledge to be shared.
It's going to be incredible. Sean coming in from Microsoft and that threat management. Microsoft's been an incredible partner of the Business Roundtable. Opened up a new resource center in DTC area for the business community down there. Again, Doug coming from IBM and the executive cybersecurity architect, which is an incredible word there, but what Doug brings to this area. And then our partners at AT&T and having Colin this year who does that threat intelligence and cyber forensic. Just incredible national leaders and experts that we're going to be able to bring right here to Denver with our partners at CSU Global, History Colorado, October 30th. This event does have a registration fee that's attached to us, so we want to make sure people get in and get registered.
So as far as registration is concerned, you guys can visit cobrt.com/events. Go to Tuesday, October 30th. Click on the link that'll take you to the Eventbrite link. And again, we mentioned that there is some cost. It's $15 if you get your tickets right
breakfast
now.
Included.
Exactly. And you get fed, right?
And national experts.
Yeah,
I mean, it's an incredible value. This is not a
yes.
moneymaker. This is an opportunity to really cover the cost of breakfast and provide an incredible service with our key partners. CSU Global has been a great leader, again, under the leadership of Dr. Becky and what you're doing, Karen, over there. We just admire. We're so appreciative of not only the work and partnership and friendship, but how agile and nimble your organization is to kind of really dive in, roll up sleeves, and kind of provide that content, because you ultimately understand the outcome, the product, preparing those students to enter the workforce ready to hit the ground, to be productive members of these companies is so important, right? When you look at productivities and outcomes, we want that. In some cases, I don't think we do a good job at signaling and demanding and working with education the way we should, and that's on us as business leaders. But we know we've got great partners in education that are willing to say, we're here, we want to partner, we need to hear from business, and this is a perfect example.
Thank you, Jeff. And we appreciate our partnership with Colorado Business Roundtable as well. It is hugely beneficial for us to be able to learn directly from business leaders in our local community so that we can make sure our programming is relevant. And we're really excited about the opportunity that we have on October 30th just to bring these people together so that everyone who attends can walk away with an understanding from right now, boots on the ground, what is going on in the field of cybersecurity and what they can do to get ahead of the curve.
Love that. Thank you so much, Karen.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day. Be sure to like and subscribe our YouTube page while you're here, and visit cobrt.com/events to sign up for the October 30th cybersecurity event, as well as the others we talked previously on in the show. Thank you so much. We'll be right back. So we have had a wonderful conversation today. We had Allie Resick with Manufacturers Edge on. She was talking about the climate change event that is tomorrow. Again, registration starts at 3:30.
Partnership with Manufacturers Edge, Congresswoman DeGette. It's a great event this week. We look forward to seeing everybody right down the street from these studios that we're at here at Geotech on 40th in York. Great opportunity to really understand the impact of climate change to the business community and why the business community should matter, should be paying attention moving forward.
Absolutely.
So we're excited about that.
And it's a free event. I always appreciate that, as a millennial. I like to save some money.
Two of the three events we talked about on this show, highlighting those specifically are free events. This event with the Congresswoman and Manufacturers Edge and the Business Roundtable is free. We'll have some catered food, some beer and wine during the reception afterwards, but free event. And then moved right in talking about NAFTA Burger at the luncheon with Farm Bureau and the importance of that. And again, another free event that we're putting on at the state capitol. It's going to be a fascinating event, and I promise not to burn your burger too bad when I'm cooking.
Everybody just gets well done.
It's all about the photo. That is the only way I barbecue. It's well done. Like, I think it's dead. I don't hear it mooing. Everything's good. If you want rare or medium rare, it's probably not me. Make sure you talk to one of the other cooks there. We'll get you taken care of. But certainly as we continue to work on NAFTA and trade deals, that's one of the lanes of the Business Roundtable, right? These are so important to our membership and the role of COBRT in this ecosystem and why what we do matters and why our partnerships matter. These organizations that we partner with, from the state chamber, the Denver chamber, local regional chambers, and our trade association, all play such an integral role in our ability to support, partner, collaborate, and align and convene with them. Really makes all the difference. We're pretty well known here and established for taking really that more federal lane because of the companies of the Roundtable and you start looking at why immigration matters, why trade matters, why tax reform matters, why regulatory rollbacks matter. Those are the areas that we focus on. And so these partnerships with these other groups are so important because it matters locally. It matters to the workforce, to the communities, to the business owners here in the state. And so that'll be another great free event. And then, oh my goodness, talking about cyber and everybody. It's not just Russians and the elections people. It's so important. What a great event and opportunity. And again, I think it shows really kind of the magnitude and reach of the roundtable to be able to bring in companies like Microsoft and AT&T and IBM and Deloitte to put on a great program there in our partnership with Colorado.
Experts in the cyber field.
Well, and with Technology Association, with the change there in leadership, and having Franny there at the event and having her introduce our keynote and again why these partnerships matter and where we are with the Business Roundtable in those. So those are three really immediate events that are up. That registration links are live, but there's more.
There's more. There's always more with the Colorado Business Roundtable.
We're the and group, and we don't say no a lot here. So yeah, there's
or you.
All right, point taken. Yes, staff is wonderful, and that they just, I get some eye rolls, some shrugging, like, okay, Jeff. So yeah, we're going to kind of move right into. We'll have our annual legislative reception coming up in November. We're excited. It'll be right after a very important midterm election. We'll try and get some invites out. We've been very involved in this election cycle. Again, not from the standpoint of the political side, but really from the policy education, the impact of the business community, and why these election matters. We did Finding Colorado's Next Governor. We moved into the gubernatorial forums on the R&D pre-primary, and then certainly doing our Election Watch 2018. But we want to be able to bring the newly elected legislative body here in the state and our statewide leaders together and celebrate that and talk about the upcoming lead session with those. So stay tuned for that annual event.
Yes, and it's going to be our 5th annual. I know. 5 years of doing this. And I have to tell you, one of the things that I get told over and over again from people that have been to those receptions is that's probably one of their favorite events that we hold here. It's pretty laid back, and you've got business leaders and, legislative Congress people in here to talk, right, and converse. And it's, it's in our own warehouse event space back here, so it's very low key. You don't need to show up in a suit, though everyone does. But
well, it's because it's the business community, and they dress differently. But certainly in the warehouse chic space here, and the catering and the food that goes on. But again, it's the idea of coming together and having a great reception, right, and not talking to a lot of people and celebrating, the folks that step up and put themselves out there to represent us in Colorado. That convening of our ABCG group that we talk about, and that who's in the room matters, and that's why the Business Roundtable has been so successful. That we're dealing with folks in academia, in the business world, the community, and governmental groups. That's where that ABCG comes from, and so it's great. That's coming up. We already have our nominations open for our awards luncheon.
Yes.
This will be our second awards luncheon. Last year it was, Collaboration in Industry Awards. This year it's Champion in Industry. We're so excited. We've already met with our folks over at the Community College of Denver to start talking about the award designs and making sure they were the talk of the town. Last year's event that had not only the governor there, it had Jackie Hinman from CH2M, one of our great BRT companies, headquartered CEOs that was purchased by Jacobs, who we had at the View from the Top, if you're seeing how all this spins together. And then Jim Clifton, the CEO of Gallup, that keynoted that event. And so we're working on getting all of our speakers and the program and agenda lined up. But nominations are open. That date is set December 3rd, the Cable Center. Registration's not open. But if you start to think about all of the people in industry in the state and the folks that we work with, the ability to kind of nominate those champions in industry that are going above and beyond, that are stepping up to really not only make things better for themselves, their company, their employees, but really understand their role and the ability to impact the state of Colorado differently, that venture out of their space, that understand how important it is to be great stewards, great partners, great friends, and to leverage their reach and resources to make a difference. And so we're excited about recognizing so many great champions in Colorado. And boy, we're blessed with so many. I thought judging last year was going to be tough. You start thinking about champions in industry and how many people fit that bill. thank you to our judges. I do not envy you whatsoever. That's going to be an amazing event. We have a great, our partnership with CSE and the Citizens for Space Exploration, which is an affiliate of the Colorado Business Roundtable. It's got some great things happening in that space. Neil deGrasse Tyson is coming to town, and so we're going to have a CSE reception for that coming up. As part of our work around NAFTA and trade, we're going to be doing a significant event with the Denver Business Journal and the Consulate General's offices around trade, and again, why trade matters. We have our congressional conference call series that continues. We're working on our energy manufacturing event that we work on every year with Consumer Energy Alliance and how important that is and our partnership with them. Boy, these senators, I don't know how they do that. Senator Cory Gardner, Senator Michael Bennet, they both have so many responsibilities outside of just representing their own state and the constituents in here, their committee assignments and the stuff that they step up and volunteer. Colorado is well represented by both of those senators. So trying to find time to calendar and schedule that event. We may actually push this out of November to post-election just to try and get through this next election cycle. It's going to be a frantic frenzy between now and November with all the work around elections and campaigning. Oh, and by the way, they're dealing with Supreme Court nominations. A couple little small things going on in their world. So, but we are still continuing to work on that, potentially looking at a net neutrality event as part of our reach with all of the technology companies of the Business Roundtable between AT&T and Verizon and Comcast and IBM and Apple, and why those types of events matter. It's just an exciting time, and we're already looking into next year. Because we do have some key signature events that we do annually. You mentioned this would be our 5th ledge reception. We have the State of Higher Ed, and we're already getting requests to start getting that on the date and calendar, looking at a State of the State event, potentially post-election. And so those things are going to be great. We'll continue to do things like View from the Top. We've got some great partnerships we're looking at. I also think we're going to probably be doing another event around natural lands and public access and use of natural lands. It's kind of one of those interesting discussions because we've been so involved in this climate event and with energy production, and certainly energy and natural lands has been either embraced on one side or very controversial on the other side. And so we want to continue to talk about those particular issues. Immigration won't ever go away, unfortunately, and I mean that in somewhat of dismay and shock and frustration that we can't come together and create the kind of pragmatic, thoughtful solutions that we know exist today in a bipartisan fashion. But we've got some immigration work coming up later this year. I'll be back in D.C. Actually speaking on a national panel on immigration reform, which will be great. Had a wonderful career development summit. We've got some education workforce events coming up tied into, obviously, Western Pathways, which will be in Oregon next year. And it goes on and on and on.
Well, Jeff, we always appreciate you having you in studio to talk about the latest going on at Covert.
I know there's an election. Did I mention that? No.
Yes, we know.
Yeah, I think all of us are seeing it in our sleep these days because
absolutely.
If you're anything involved in the political space, everyone says elections matters, elections have consequences, and you start looking at the state of Colorado, with a 1-vote majority in the Colorado State Senate. There's going to be some incredibly fought races there on control of that Senate. If one of those flips, right, it leaves from Republican to Dem hands. You've got the governor's race and why that race matters and how important that is. And then all these ballot initiatives, and there's so many ballot initiatives.
Right.
It will be a crowded November ballot, but we just want people to be educated, informed, and make the right vote for the state, for their families, for the future of Colorado.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Jeff. It's been a pleasure having you on. Again, for more information about all of these events, check it out at cobrt.com/events. Be sure to like and subscribe our YouTube page while you're here. Have a wonderful day.
Great. Thanks, everyone.